Next up on the fight card is Matt Frevola versus Genaro Valdez. And Frevola is coming in as a -190 favorite. Valdez coming in at a +160 favorite. This is going to be a fun fight. I watched a couple of both of these guys' last fights. And I'll go ahead and start with Frevola. His last fight was really easy to watch because it was 7 seconds. He got KO'd literally with the first 2 punches that were thrown. I was very surprised.
He got steamrolled, huh? Per his nickname, Steamrolled.
I was not expecting it, and it was really interesting. So it was a nice, clean 1-2 that took him down. But the thing that surprised me is where those punches landed that resulted in a knockdown, which was like right in the nose area, upper lip area. I feel like very rarely do you see like a knockdown or a knockout from getting punched in that area. You know, usually it's like an angle on the chin, the temple, right behind the ear. That's where you're going to see the knockdowns and put someone's lights out.
Yeah, getting clipped.
Yeah, so I don't know what that means if you know, Frevola's chin isn't in question, or if it was just one of those things where it was really more of a balance issue just because he got hit with so much force, and it was more of just getting knocked down from losing his footing. But I felt like that really did not bode well coming off of a fight like that. I imagine psychologically that's got to be really bad because Frevola also, he's not a new fighter. He's had several fights in the UFC, at least 5 that I've seen here. His last fight was in June of last year when he got that KO loss in the first round in 7 seconds. He was coming off a loss before that in January of last year, where he went to a decision. But so, no matter how I break down, what kind of technical fighter he is, I feel like the biggest battle for him has got to be psychological at this point, coming off of 2 losses. In the fights where he did actually fight, though, he did have a pretty fun style. It was kind of in your face. He didn't seem like he was afraid to back down. I see him mix it up with strikes and wrestling and scrambles and things like that. So I'm excited that he's going to be in the fight. I really hope that it does not end quickly and that his chin holds up, because who he's going against is Valdez. And when I watched Valdez's fight, his last fight, this guy is a mad lad. He is coming off Dana White Contender Series, where he literally threw everything he had at the guy in the first round. By the end of the first round, Valdez was so tired he could barely throw a punch. Some of that might be up to nerves. It just wasn't maybe not the smartest strategy for trying to plan a 3-round fight. But I love that he's came out swinging. He was in the guy's face the entire time. He had an insane, unsustainable pace, insane aggression, incredibly inefficient wrestling. This is the thing I will say from a technical standpoint with Valdez is one of the first things he did was shoot for a single leg on the guy. And instead of dumping with the single leg, which is what you would typically do, it's pretty efficient. You drive your shoulder into the guy's thigh, you pull up on the calf, you make a lever, and you pull the guy to the ground. He did the exact opposite. He tried to lift the guy, which is the worst thing. I think there's no move that I can think of in wrestling that is more tiring than getting a guy on a single leg and then trying to lift him up, and that's exactly what he did. So I think nerves probably played a little bit of a factor for sure, because he's trying to impress Dana White. Was definitely going for a finish, you could tell. But that's also what made it exciting, and I think why Dana White was on his feet. He ended up finishing the guy in the second round. And ended up getting the contract, obviously, because he's going into the UFC. But if he gets his conditioning under control and maybe just pulls back a little bit so that he can have something left in rounds 2 or 3 when he goes up in competition, getting into the UFC, I think this is going to be a guy. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like Diego Sanchez, where Diego Sanchez wasn't the most technical fighter. He's just more of a brawler. This guy seems like more of a brawler. Tough, yeah, he's ready to throw down, won't back down. So I'm really looking forward to this fight. And another interesting thing I noticed was Moreno was in his corner on the Dana White Contender Series. So I'm not sure if he's been training with Moreno but I thought that was interesting also. So I think Frevola's got potentially a suspect chin, but better technique and control. And just because he's a veteran, I think he will come out with a better strategy than Valdez. I think Frevola is going to pull this off, and that is how the odd makers are also seeing it.